Friends, welcome to the second part of the historical background. In continuation of the previous discussion, let us discuss the Indian Independence Act of 1947, demand for Constituent Assembly, and the working of the Constituent Assembly. So let us discuss first the Indian Independence Act of 1947. On February 20th, 1947, a British Prime Minister, Clement Attlee, declared that British rule in India would end by June 30, 1948, after which the power would be transferred to the responsible Indian hands. This announcement was followed by agitation by the Muslim League demanding partition of the country. Again, on June 3, 1947, the British government made it clear that any constitution framed by the Constituent Assembly of India, formed in 1946, cannot apply to those parts of the country which were unwilling to accept it. It means the countries or the part of the country don't want to enter in the Constituent Assembly. So full liberty is given to those part. On the same day, Lord Mountbatten, the Viceroy of India, put forth the partition plan, known as the Mountbatten's Plan. The plan was accepted by the Congress and the Muslim League. Immediate effect was given to the plan by enacting the Indian Independence Act 1947. There are different features of this particular act, according to which it ended the British rule in India and declared the India as an independent and sovereign state from August 15, 1947. It provided for the partition of India and creation of two independent dominions of India and Pakistan with the right to succeed for the British Commonwealth. It abolished the office of Viceroy and provided for the cash dominion. Governor General, who was to be appointed by the British King on the advice of Dominion Cabinet. His Majesty's government in Britain was to have no responsibility with respect to the government of India or Pakistan. It empowered the constituent assemblies of the two dominions to frame and adopt any constitution for their respective nation and to repeal any act of Parliament, a British Parliament, including the Independence Act itself. It empowered the constituent assemblies of both the dominions to legislate for their respective territories till the new constitution were drafted and enforced. No act of the British Parliament passed after 15th August 1947 was to extend to either of the new dominions unless it was extended there to by law of legislature of the dominions. So according to this, two dominions or the two independence dominions like India and Pakistan came into existence. This act abolished the office of Secretary of State for India and transferred his function to the Secretary of State for the Commonwealth Affair. It proclaimed the lapse of British paramountcy over the Indian princely states and treaty relation with the tribal areas from 15th August 1947. It granted freedom to the Indian princely state either to join the Dominion of India or Dominion of Pakistan or to the remain independent. The princely state म्हणजे राजघराणे, ज्या राजघराण्यांना इंडियामध्ये राहायचं आहे किंवा पाकिस्तानमध्ये राहायचं आहे किंवा त्यांना इंडिपेंडंट व्हायचं आहे, हा पूर्णपणे फ्रीडम त्यांना देण्यात आला. त्या त्या अनुषंगाने ते इंडिपेंडंट झाले किंवा स्वतंत्र झाले किंवा ते इंडियामध्ये किंवा पाकिस्तानमध्ये विलीन झाले. It provided for the governance of each of the dominion and the provinces by the Government of India Act 1935 till the new constitution were framed. The dominions were, however, authorized to make modification in the act. It deprived the British monarch of his right to veto bill or asked for reservation of certain bills for his approval. But this right was reserved for the Governor General. The Governor General have full power to assent any bill in the name of His Majesty. At the stroke of midnight 14th to 15th August 1947, the British rule came to an end and power was transferred to two new independent dominions of India and Pakistan. Lord Mountbatten became the first Governor General of new Dominion of India. He swore in Jawaharlal Nehru as the first Prime Minister of the India. The Constituent Assembly of India formed in 1946 became the Parliament of the Indian Dominion. These are the some demands for the Constituent Assembly. It was in 1935 that the idea of Constituent Assembly for India was put forward first time by M.N. Roy, a pioneer of communist movement in India. In 1935, the Indian National Congress for the first time officially demanded the Constituent Assembly to frame the Constitution of India. In 1938, Jawaharlal Nehru, on behalf of INC, declared that the Constitution of Free India must be framed without outside interference by a Constituent Assembly elected on the basis of adult franchising. The demand was finally accepted in the principle by British government in what is known as August Offer of 1940. In 1942, Sir Stafford Cripps, a member of cabinet, came to India which drafted the proposal of the British government on the framing of an independent constitution to be adopted after World War II. The Cripps proposal were rejected by the Muslim League, which wanted India to be divided into two autonomous states with two separate constituent assembly. Finally, a cabinet mission was sent to India. While it rejected the idea of two constituent assembly, it put forth a scheme of constituent assembly which more or less satisfied the Muslim League. These are the then working of the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly held its first meeting on the December 9, 1946. The Muslim League boycotted the meeting and insisted on separate state of Pakistan. The meeting was thus attended by only 211 members. Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, the oldest member, was elected as a temporary president of the assembly following the French practice. Later, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as a president of the assembly. Similarly, both H.C. Mukherjee and V.T. Krishnamachari was elected as a vice president of the assembly. In other words, the assembly had two vice presidents. There are certain objective resolutions came into existence. On December 13, 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru moved the historical objective resolution in the assembly. It laid down the fundamental and philosophy of the constitutional structure. This constituent assembly declares its firm and solemn resolve to proclaim India as an independent, sovereign republic and to draw up for a future governance a constitution. wherein the territories that now comprise a British India, the territories that now form a Indian state, and such other part of India as are outside India and state, as well as other territories are willing to be constituted, draw into independent sovereign India, shall be union of them all, and wherein the said territories, whether with their present boundaries or with such other as may be determined by constituent assembly and thereafter according to the law of constitution, shall possess and retain the states of autonomous units, together with residuary power, and exercise all powers and function of the government powers and administration, save and except such as and function as are vested in or assigned to the union or are inherent or implied in the union or resulting therefrom, and wherein all power and authority of sovereign independent India, its constituent part organs of the government are derived from the people, wherein shall be guaranteed and secured to all the people of Indian justice, social, economic, and political equity of status of opportunity, and before the law, freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, worship, vocation, association, and action subject to law and public morality, and wherein adequate safeguard shall be provided for the minorities, backward and tribal areas, and depressed and other backward classes, and whereby shall be maintained the integrity of territory of republic and its sovereign rights on the land, sea, and air according to the justice and the law of civilized nation, and the ancient land attained its rightful and honor place in the world and makes its full and willing contribution to the promotion of world peace and welfare of mankind. In this video, we have discussed about the Indian Independence Act and the demand of the Constitution. Thank you for watching.